Hey, welcome into Day by Day. I'm James. I'm with Andrew. Andrew, how are you doing?
Hello again. I'm doing well. Yeah, just another week, another
What's
game
your
week.
shirt?
This is
What shirt
Boys
you
Town.
wearing?
This is Boys Town.
Boys Town.
Yeah.
Repping Boys Town.
Yep.
I'm repping the Padres tonight. So I'm a huge Royals fan. They're my childhood team. The Padres are my later years team. We're up 4-0. I shouldn't say we. I I am so rooting for a Royals Padres World Series, and then I will be very conflicted. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Padres are up 4-0 right now on the Braves as we're recording, and the Royals won today at Baltimore. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you follow Major League Baseball.
A lot of years I do. This year, not a.
No, yeah. I probably followed it closer this year than most other years. So,
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're talking Rutgers this week.
Week.
I feel like it's a big week for Nebraska. I'm going to be at the game with my wife. It's the forecast is, I think, like the fifth layer of hell for the temperature. Like something like 92 degrees. It was beautiful here today. I'm sure it's beautiful where you're at every day, but it was like 69, 70, 71 right in there today. Actually was kind of chilly most of the morning. And I so wish today could have been the day that Nebraska played. But so it's going to be a hot day. Which
sounds like a opening game type of weather.
Right. But I know. So it's going to be miserable. And we're sitting in the South Stadium, which I call Peasantville. I feel like peasants sit in South Stadium. Haven't sat there in years. So, but I'm looking forward to being in the stadium. So, let's talk Rutgers. I watched a lot of the Washington game. I actually watched it live and then kind of watched the replay here before we recorded. But I have a ton of thoughts, and I honestly I don't really know where to start. Did you watch any of the game? Because it was last Friday night.
No, I didn't watch them. Friday night was pizza movie night, family.
It was so it's later here for us. So all my family's in bed by then, which so it's like, yeah, we're doing stuff. You're doing stuff at your 7 o'clock hour. I'm watching 9, 10 o'clock. All the kids are in bed. And I actually just tweeted this out, but I want to get your thoughts and maybe who it could sound like. Washington had 520 yards of offense. They did not turn the ball over. They won the time of possession battle, and they lost by 3 points.
Yeah, it sounds like Nebraska.
Wow. You want to take a guess on what they were on field goals?
1 for 4.
1 for 4.
Oh wow.
1 for 4. So they missed 3, and they missed the game winner at the buzzer.
And that was that on the road?
What's that?
Was that on the road?
It was on the road, so at Rutgers. And I mean, they just like when I was watching the game and then I watched the replay, Rutgers got outplayed.
Yep.
Except on special teams. And yet Rutgers actually had a field goal that was blocked. So it's not like Rutgers was lights out on special teams, but the guy that kicks for Washington also has a C on his jersey. I'm assuming that means captain, unless it means something else. So your captain, your kicker captain, which I don't know if I've ever heard of a kicker who was a captain. Maybe Alex Henry was at some point in his career. Chris Brown, I don't remember that. But, I mean, he missed 3 field goals in the game winner. And what I continually saw from Washington was guys running wide open. Honestly, a decent rush game. They ran for 200 plus yards, 5 something a carry. Let me look at it here. 207 yards, 7 yards a carry. They threw for 314. And they lost the game because they couldn't put the ball in the end zone. They were 2 for 12 on third down. Rutgers only had 299 yards. Need to get my glasses on. 299 yards. They only threw for 115. Rush was good. 33 rushing attempts for 184 yards, 5.6 a carry, but half their yards came on 2 drives. And so we'll get into this in a little bit, but I think if you stop the run, you win the game. So honestly, watching Rutgers, it's just like, I'm not impressed. I know this was everybody's darling opening the season, but they're beatable. I think the yards and the points will be there for the taking if Nebraska can play smart and disciplined.
Yeah. And if we can come out, it is it's a later in the day game, which is beneficial.
Yeah.
We can come out with a little bit of that fire. I mean, last time they played at home, they lost. It's kind of recapture a little bit of that edge.
Yep.
But I admittedly have not followed Rutgers this year, and then I pull up the stats and yeah, it's kind of like you expect to see a little bit be a little more impressed out of a 4-0 team. Their quarterback doesn't sling it all over the place. Obviously, we played him last year, and it was one of those games where you kind of felt like, oh, you let that guy beat you, and a lot of little out routes and whatnot. So, definitely know how to play him. So,
and I think that's what Rutgers is going to run. I think if Kaliakmanis beats you throwing, it's going to be a long day. Honestly, I'd say, let Manangai, get his 7,500 yards.
Yeah.
If you shut down their passing game, and obviously you don't let them run for 200, 250, 300 yards, right? But if the guy gets 100, whatever, he's going to have 20, 25, 30 carries. I expect him to get some yards. But we also thought that about Maccabee, right? Who's a decent back.
Yep.
Purdue couldn't run the ball because they couldn't throw the ball.
And if Kaliakmanis beats us with his arm, that means you're seeing a lot of busted plays, a lot of, and that's just going to come down to, is the defense going to be ready? Are they going to have their heads on straight and play the right gaps and play the right coverage? And
that's the thing. As I watched Washington,
I was just going to say, isn't going to be we're overpowered type of game. It's going to be like, are we in the right spots?
Yep.
Or is our head in it? So
100%. As I watched Washington, my one thought was, and they did a decent job. I mean, Manangai had a good game, but on the plays that were busted, it was guys weren't in their gaps and linebackers missed tackles. This is going to be a huge game for Bullock and Bayer and Sherman. They have to make plays. They have to make the tackle in space. Linemen have to stay in their gaps. I think I think Nash is due for a big game.
Yeah.
I don't think he's played to his potential yet. I think we've seen it from Ty a little bit, but I'd love to see a big game from both of them. Just plug in the middle. And again, Rutgers doesn't want to throw the ball. Make them throw the ball.
Yeah.
Make Kaliakmanis beat you. Just like, last year with Minnesota, they only scored 13 points. I think Minnesota had better receivers than what Rutgers has. So make him beat you.
Yeah. And it was, if I remember right, it was a lot of third down conversions, a lot of that. We got them to 3rd and 6, and then they just hit us with the first down pass. So,
well, Rutgers was 7 of 15 on third. I'm looking at the stats right now. They're 7 of 15 on third downs against Washington. They didn't have a 4th down attempt. They did what they needed to do. I feel like Rutgers is almost like a verb. Like they Rutgered Washington to play their game. Washington was 2 for 12 on 3rd down, 2 for 4 on 4th down.
And still we're a couple made field goals away from winning that thing.
Right. They should have won the game, honestly. And Rutgers had played a close game with Virginia Tech the week before. Virginia Tech, not that great, but then came back and should have beat Miami.
Into it. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to predict and expect us to win this game, but we have to do a few things to do that, which we'll get to here in a bit. But So yeah, when I watched back, I was just like, I'm not impressed. And if we don't come out flat, and because here, to me, here's the thing with a team like Rutgers, you let them stick in the game, and what they're going to do is they're going to play their kind of their dirty Shiano ball,
Yeah.
and believe that they can win, but come out, step on their throat like you did against Colorado. They're not more talented than Colorado.
No,
they're more disciplined,
right.
but they're not more talented.
They feel a little like in Illinois also, they're going to come play physical. They're going to be hyped playing on the road in a big stadium. Like you said, are we going to let them kind of capture that moment and that momentum? And yeah, we on paper, we win. We win easy, but
yeah, I agree. I mean, I have some keys to victory. We'll get to those. I know you want to talk about some penalty stuff so far from the year. What do you got?
And Rutgers plays into this a little bit. I think it's interesting. So I went back, I was just thinking a lot about the pass interference penalties that are being called in favor of us, which again, this is not a complaint. This is not to point out that that the refs are harder on other teams, because we also average our fair share of penalties this year. But it is interesting. Somebody asked Raiola today in the interview press conference if that was something that they work on, that they practice. He said no. He said we try to put the ball on the receiver every time, which we try to go for the touchdown. I would have liked to see somebody follow up with a hard question. Okay, then did you underthrow guys 6 times? Because I disagree. I think he's probably a little bit of coach
gamesmanship.
Gamesmanship. But yeah, so he said no, they don't work on that, or but then he kind of did say when you kind of see what the trends are during the game, and you see our physical receivers, and but I was thinking though, okay, it feels like we're seeing a lot more flags on the opponent. So I looked it up, just went back 3 years. So 2022, in the first 5 games. So I'm just taking that sample size, first 5, opponents average 6.8 penalties a game. And this is 2022. So Frost / Mickey Joseph, year, 292 yards a game in penalty yards. I'm sorry, not penalty yards. That's total through 5.
Total penalty. Total penalty yards.
58.4. A game in penalty yards. 2023, Matt Rule's first year through 5 games, 28 penalties. So it had gone down by 6. 5.6 penalties a game. 235 total yards through 5 games, which is 47 yards a game. Interesting. And looking that up, Michigan had no flags. I forget about that.
I remember that.
Interesting. What a weird year for Michigan football. So then fast forward to this year. So really contrast 2020, just last year to now. Through 5 games, 43 flags on the opponents.
Wow.
8.6 per game for twice as many yards, 460 total yards through 5 games, 92 yards a game. So 92 yards a game this year, opponents are getting flagged for. Last year, 47. So you double that. So I was just thinking, I wish I'd be able to find specifically pass interference, but that obviously plays into that bump.
Did you also do Nebraska?
I looked, I didn't write it down.
Maybe we could do that next week.
Because we're at about 8. I think we're at 8 flags a game, roughly.
Which is a lot.
It is, yeah.
But what I think, I didn't catch this in the broadcast of the Rutgers Washington game, but I saw it on the replay, and they kind of cut it off because they went to the next play. There was a play that, the result of the play was, was it that blocked field goal? Boy, I don't know. The result of the play benefited Washington, but there was a substitution infraction called on Washington. It actually could have been the blocked field goal. Somebody was still on the field, but as the broadcast was cutting off, Tim Brando and then his commentary partner said something like, well, there was no 27 on the field because they called it on number 27. And what they were saying was there was nobody on the field, but they threw the flag anyway, and they called the penalty on Washington. I want to try to go back, and I didn't have enough time before we hopped on here. But my thought was did the refs again throw a flag on something that wasn't a penalty like they did against Fedoni?
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's an uptick across the board in penalties being called that aren't really penalties in college football.
Yeah. I think it's been a national talking point this week for sure. I mean, you've had a lot of coaches upset. You've had a lot of games that have been controversial endings, or, you know, calls that have been points taken off the board. That's the most frustrating thing. So
100%.
Looking at we have 390 yards total this year in penalties, which is just not that far off from the
no.
Yeah, from our opponents, 460. So yeah, interesting stat, and I think it ties into Rutgers. So they average, theirs was pretty low on the year.
Yeah.
32 yards a game in penalties.
They had 30, was it 31? You got 31 against Washington, only 4 penalties.
Yeah, they've only been flagged 16 times this year. So
yeah, again, they're a disciplined team. They didn't turn the ball over against Washington. They just didn't move the ball.
Yeah. So that might be a key. We can force a turnover. We can force something uncharacteristic for Rutgers. Maybe draw some of those flags that they're not used to getting. Then
I think, and again, I don't think there is one aspect of the game that Rutgers is elite at. I don't think there's one aspect they're even great at. I think they do a lot of things well. But I was I was shocked at how poorly they played defense. And Will Rogers to me is just like, okay.
Yeah.
He's a mid-level Big Ten quarterback.
Yeah. Gets you excited.
He shredded them.
Thinking about what Dylan can do.
I mean, again, so 27 of 37 for 314 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, time to eat. Time for our receivers. Dylan to eat. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway. Okay, well let's kind of get into what are you looking for this weekend? Like, again, we kind of go back to our formula. Nebraska wins if.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think special teams can't be the story of the game. Whether it's we don't attempt field goals, fine. Let's not attempt them.
Just
and miss
don't
them.
kick.
Yeah.
Don't kick.
Yeah. I mean, so that's a big one. I want to see Buschini continue, to punt well. Obviously not give up any big returns. But I think defense, like you said, this is Nash has been missing a little bit. I feel like Gift has been missing a little bit.
Yep.
So maybe Gift comes down in the box to try to stop their stud running back. But yeah, I'm just looking for the defense to come out with that edge, that pride that they did not have against Illinois.
I agree. This is really interesting. Well, maybe I'll get to this in a minute. It's a defensive statistic for Rutgers that favors them quite a bit. It's not like Nebraska has been bad by any means, but to stick with Nebraska defense, I think they need to come out and still feel like they have something to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know Purdue is not very good.
Right.
And they haven't won games. Rutgers has won games. So what I want to see, to your point, is I want to see them show we have something to prove.
Yeah.
Now, Rutgers is no USC. It's no Ohio State, but, they have an all Big Ten running back. And what I want them to feel is we're going to shut him down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rule's been saying, we've kind of pieced together games this year. There hasn't been that real complete.
Yep.
So Rule said last game, we needed this. We needed to get down early, play a poor half, come out, play a strong fourth quarter, win the game.
Yep.
So he's been praising these pieces all year. I really think looking at the schedule ahead, this needs to be the moment they put it all together.
Yep.
We really see big steps taken in almost all areas. That's really what I'm looking for. Don't give the fans, don't give us anything to complain about this week.
It's going to be hot enough, man. We're like, I'm a little worried actually that we're going to be drained.
Yeah.
I'm actually, for something unrelated, I'm putting on a seminar, like it's a Zoom seminar, but it's almost all day. It'll go till about 12:30. And then my wife and I are dropping the kids at grandparents and then going down. So I'm not going to be exhausted from being outside, but I'll be talking all day. I'm just worried it's going to be like so hot that we're going to be like, well, you have to keep yelling. Like, give us a reason to yell. Give us a reason to be loud. Yeah. Okay. What else are you looking for in terms of keys for winning?
I don't know. That to me is, again, I think about quarterback play.
That's it. That's like, yep.
That's it. And I'm just excited to watch Dylan play. Like, I'm not like, oh, Dylan's got to do this, this, and this. Like, it's just been fun this year to, all right, see what he does, see what he's going to do this game. So
it's what I love is it's not cringy. It's not like drop back to pass and I have to shield my eyes. I think we talked about that the other night when we did our reaction. It's like, I enjoy watching a play develop because I believe you're going to complete this pass more often than not.
Yep. Yeah. I want to see some flash. Again, I'm looking for Barney to break something, looking for, that first game for Ryle to get some dimes to Nair and Banks. And yeah.
So actually 2 other things Washington did. They didn't throw deep a lot, but they hit pockets of Rutgers zone, which I think Nebraska's going to do a lot of. They have this guy who played Wildcat, number 2. You should go back and watch the YouTube replay. But he ran the Wildcat a lot, and he was pretty quick. And I just thought, man, what if you put Barney in Wildcat? I mean, you know what they're going to do, but I think, you got a lot of speed there. It's just something to think about, but
get him out wide. Carter Nelson could be a Wildcat.
He could.
He
could. Oh, okay. So my keys really quick. I agree with you. Make Rutgers one-dimensional, stop Manon guy, make Ethan Kaliak-Manis beat you, which I don't think he can. The second thing, Washington did this, but they didn't do enough of it. They only did it once, maybe twice. Explosive plays that find the end zone, because Rutgers gets stingy in the red zone. So I don't want to encounter 4th down from the 35. I don't want to be in 3rd and 6 from the 20. Explosive plays that either get you inside the 5-yard line or score. I think Washington had one explosive play that went for a touchdown. It was a long play. And so I think what I want to see from Raiola, if there's one thing, is on those deep balls, get it over the top and let the guys run underneath. And then the third thing is just go +1 in the turnover margin. I don't think Rutgers is going to turn the ball over a ton. If we don't, but we can steal one, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape to win the game. I don't think this is going to be a game where you get 3 or 4 turnovers. Rutgers is probably not going to throw the ball more than 20 times. So you're not going to get, I don't think, multiple interceptions. So make them one-dimensional, explosive plays that find the end zone, go +1.
Yeah. Stay out of no man's land. That's kind of that part of the field. That'll probably be, at least from fans' standpoint, we're going to be looking for that. Yep. We're going to see progress there.
All right. Any oddly specific predictions?
Yeah. So this is getting fun. You gotta, I'm trying to really, get specific. I don't know how this one would come true. If it does, people, like, seriously, let us pick your lottery numbers. But I have Carter Nelson receiving a 34-yard touchdown catch in the second half.
Okay. All right. I like it.
Yeah. And then I also have, back to my penalty points. Oh. I feel like it's going to be one, Rutgers is, pretty low on penalties each game. Yep. I also think it's going to be a point, whether it's Raiola being asked about it this week, referees being more aware of it. I'm going to say 1 DPI, 1 defensive pass interference call on Rutgers for the entire game. I think that's going to be kind of a, whoa, what happened? So,
yep. All right. Okay. So those are good. I like the Carter Nelson one.
Yep.
All right. So I have 2. One is that Nebraska does not attempt a field goal in the game, which is not really that oddly specific, but it is just a prediction. They're not going to attempt a field goal. 2, my man, Emmett Johnson, is going to go over 100 total yards. I don't think he returns kicks, so just from scrimmage. So yards from scrimmage. He's going to go over 100, and I'm going to say that he will score a 26-yard touchdown run.
Nice.
A 26-yard touchdown run. I could get really, really oddly specific and say what quarter, but it's hard to know when he's going to play.
On a 3rd and 8 where we're
on a 3rd and 8. There we go. Okay. All right. We'll work together. So on a 3rd and 8, he's going to have a 26-yard run. That would be crazy that they would run on 3rd and 8, but you never know. But I do think Emmett's going to go over 100 yards, and yes, a 26-yard touchdown run at some point in the game. So, and maybe the field goal thing is maybe more wishful thinking. I just don't want to see that unit trot out on there. I know what Rule's thinking as a coach is we need to get them confidence. I get that. I want to win the game.
Yep. Yeah, that is the interesting concept, because it makes total sense to say, don't just shut it down. How are they going to get better?
Yep.
But okay, we'll get up by 30 then, and then go try.
All right, game prediction. What do you got?
So I got a score. I mean, I think we're going to score. Like you pointed out, their pass defense not impressive. I'm going 31 points for Nebraska, and we're going to hold them to 17.
Okay.
31-17.
31-17. All right. Well, I'm going to say Nebraska likes that 28 number. We went 28-10 twice already this year. I predicted 28-10 against Purdue, and I'm going to go for it again.
Do it.
I'm going to say 28-10 Nebraska, another 18-point win over Rutgers. So 28-10.
Love it. No field
goal.
Right. My score does include a field goal, obviously.
It does. Obviously, it does. Or like a missed extra point and a safety. Would that get us there? Nope. No. What was I thinking? No. You'd have to. You'd have 28. 2-point now. Okay, it's a field goal. Yeah. It's a field goal. All right. Okay. Well, we'll end it there. I'm excited. I'm excited to be in the stadium. I think this will be the only game I get to go to this year. So it'll be good to be in the stadium.
Eat a Runza for me, and a Valentino's, and a Fairbury.
I'll try all 3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. CharacterChronicles.com. You can find us also on Apple, Spotify, probably on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcasts, all the places. So like, subscribe, share, follow us on social media. As always, thank you for watching, for listening, for subscribing and sharing. And we'll see you after the game, hopefully Sunday, for our reaction.